Okay guys, this is my 2002 Jeep Wrangler Sport TJ 5-speed manual with the 231J transfer case. After a day of four-wheeling, I had a real bad driveline vibration, and it has the Rough Country 4-inch short arm suspension lift on it, which I also have a 3/4 inch spacer to make up for the winch weight on the front. I'm running a 12,000 pound winch on the front, which gave it a little bit of sag, so I added the 3/4 inch spacer and it leveled it back out. But with this lift, it came with a 1-inch transfer case drop bracket, which I had this thing running smooth, no driveline vibrations whatsoever, until came back after four-wheeling one day. So what I had done so far to figure out what the problem is, first took out the U-joints, figuring that the U-joints went bad, and as I was pressing the old ones out, took the caps off, checked them, all the bearings were still in there and they were all still greased, so the U-joints were still good, but I still pressed new ones in. Took it for a drive, still had a real bad vibration when accelerating and decelerating. When you press in the clutch, the vibration pretty much went away. So it still kept me to believe that I've got something in my rear end is going out, or I bent something. So what I'd done, dropped the drive shaft again, took it in, had it balanced, and drive shaft is good. So opened up the rear end and checked to make sure I didn't chip a gear or screw something else up in there, which fluid was good, no metal shavings, so cleaned it out. And you can use brake cleaner, clean it out, let it air dry, run a rag through the bottom, make sure there's no brake cleaner or anything left in there, seal it back up. And I run full synthetic mobile gear oil in there. When you do that, make sure that you have the limited slip additive either in the gear oil already mixed in, or just go to your nearest store and buy a little $7 bottle of limited slip additive. Otherwise you will get some weird noises coming out of your rear end and it will go out. But back to the problem. So I started checking everything else. Pinion angle looked good, measured it. It was still pretty much dead on to where I had it before with no vibration. So I started pushing the Jeep around back and forth a little bit to see if I can see movement in anything, and put it in gear with the emergency brake on. And what I started noticing is my control arms had quite a bit of play. So I dropped them out and the bushings in the rear were completely shot. So I figured that with it having that much play, probably when I put a load on it, that it's twisting the rear axle too much and changing the pinion angle enough to give me a real bad vibration. So I had checked around to find replacement bushings for the Rough Country short arms, and I could not find any. What they have done is they had an old style and a new style of these arms with the fixed bushings, fixed arms. And the old style, you're going to have a really hard time finding bushings for them. So I'd called them up after not being able to find bushings to replace them, and told them what the problem is and that I couldn't find replacement bushings. And they did replace all four of my lower control arms. The front ones were going bad. They weren't as bad as the rear ones. They had just asked me for my receipt for the lift and pictures showing the bushings in the rear arms, and they sent me a complete set free of charge to replace the bushings. And these new style actually have bigger bushings in there, which you can now replace with an OEM style bushing if they go bad. Put the new arms in, figuring my problem would go away, and still have a bad driveline vibration. So what I had done is I put the Jeep on jack stands, all 4 tires in the air, had somebody get in and run it, and just got under here and checked to see if I can see anything. And right off the bat, what had happened, and I'm hoping this is going to fix my problem, I have the parts coming for it. It looks like right here I have bent the rear output shaft, the main shaft, and the transfer case, because it has a real bad wobble to it. When it's in drive, you can actually see it wobbling back and forth, which I should have checked that to begin with, but didn't. So what I had done, got on eBay, I had ordered a SYE kit from TerraFlex with a Tatton CV drive shaft. And I know a lot of you guys don't want to do that because it's going to cost too much money, but I got the whole complete setup, should be here tomorrow, sent out and shipped $450, which you can't beat that price. So hopefully it comes in tomorrow, and I'm going to do an SYE kit and a CV shaft. Hopefully that will fix my problem. But other things that you can check, which I had also done, but they all seem good, is if you're having a driveline vibration, check all your U-joints. You have, if you're running a stock style like this, you will have 2 in the back. You will have 2 at the front drive shaft end at the transfer case, and you have 1 more up front. Then you also have 1 on each side of the axle in the front. Go through, check all those, make sure all the U-joints are good. And if you're still having that vibration, then more than likely it's your pinion angle. But those are all small little things that you can check at home. Don't have to take it into a shop. If you don't have a degree finder, I'd go out and get a degree finder. Look up the specs on whichever lift you have, and make sure that whichever rear end and transfer case you have, it should give you somewhere the degree angle that you need to be within. If you do have the extra money to go out and spend, I would definitely suggest you get a SYE kit, slip yoke eliminator kit, and a CV drive shaft for a rear if you have a 4-inch or taller lift. I should have done it a long time ago, but I was being cheap. Also, with the SYE kit, you are going to be able to remove the transfer case drop bracket, move everything back up, so it gives you more clearance again. But with the 4-inch rough country lift kit that I had gotten, the kit works perfect without getting a driveline vibration problem. You can run it if you do mild off-road. You should have no problems with it. I know there's a lot of guys that talk bad about rough country, and yes, they are hard to get a hold of, but they do help you out as much as possible, and they will replace parts under warranty if it's a legitimate cause. Which, my bushings were bad, I couldn't find replacement bushings, and within 3 days I had my new arms. So thank you to Rough Country, and it did make a difference. Everything feels a lot tighter now on it. I had a little bit of axle wrap on it. It felt like the axle was twisting on me on a load, which I should have checked that before, but